It's a good day. It's a good day. Why? Well, there's a lot of crazy news. Everything's just insane, but it's fun and funny. You're looking at a picture of a jelly donut. You may be asking yourself, why, for the love of God, did Tucker Carlson send Brian Stelter a box of jelly donuts? I have no idea either, but apparently there's a feud going on between Brian Stelter and Tucker Carlson, because apparently Brian Stelter defended Media Matters when Media Matters came after Tucker Carlson, and it's culminated so far in a glorious box of jelly donuts being sent to Brian Stelter. The question, is this an act of peace? Is this a gift to calm, or is it an insult? I honestly don't know, and apparently neither does Brian Stelter, but it's funny nonetheless. Let's read, and we'll look at the context. Tucker Carlson worries about CNN Brian Stelter's hunger pangs, sends him a dozen jelly donuts. It's a modern-day media mystery. Tucker Carlson sent CNN chief media correspondent Brian Stelter a dozen jelly donuts. Stelter received them Wednesday in New York, but so far has not reached out to Carlson in response. Sources tell The Mirror that Stelter was thrilled to get the delicate pastries, but agitated and confused by the gesture. He told a number of people he had no idea what the point was. I mean, I'll say this. If someone sent me a box of jelly donuts, I'd be pretty happy. I mean, who doesn't want to receive a free box of jelly donuts? Now, it depends. Where did the donuts come from? Because Dunkin' Donuts, not a big fan. Krispy Kreme, maybe. Let's read on. Oh, the donuts came from Dunkin' Donuts. Come on. The box was signed with a Sharpie. Brian, enjoy. All best, Tucker Carlson. Stelter did not return an email request for comment. This has to be a troll, right? Tucker has to be trolling Brian Stelter with a box of jelly donuts. Why would he do that? It's funny, though. Here's what I asked. I understand that Tucker Carlson sent you a dozen jelly donuts yesterday. Why do you think that is? And do you plan to thank him or warm up the icy relations between you two? Do you consider this an apology of sorts? Would donuts suffice after he called you a eunuch? Lastly, did you eat them and were they good? Okay, there's a lot going on here. I love it. Tucker Carlson called Brian Stelter a eunuch. I completely disagree with doing this. Look, Media Matters dug up some old comments from Tucker Carlson, which are objectionable. Should Tucker Carlson lose advertisers or his job? Oh, come on, it was 10 years ago. But, for sure, you can point out there were silly things to say. They were offensive. Some of them were pretty gross. Brian Stelter pointed that out. Sure, I get it. I think it was wrong of Tucker Carlson to call Brian Stelter a eunuch in response, because that's not elevating the discourse. Tucker should point back and throw some criticism, legitimate criticism towards Brian Stelter, elevate the conversation, and challenge him on his ideas, and say why it was wrong to defend Media Matters. Media Matters has been peddling nonsense conspiracy nonstop. They do it all the time. They pump out fake news. Call him out on that. However, perhaps the donuts, albeit Dunkin' Donuts, was a peace offering. Were they good? I mean, Dunkin' Donuts aren't bad. It's just that Krispy Kreme really good. Okay, although I'm trying to avoid eating too much bread. I'm trying to get more vegetables in my diet. Someone who knows him well said it's likely he enjoyed the donuts even if he didn't understand the reason for their arrival. I'm pretty sure he snuck the box into the bathroom and scarfed them in a stall. Oh my God, what? That can't be real. Wow. Stelter's longtime nemesis at Fox News is usually Sean Hannity, but in recent weeks, Stelter has badmouthed Carlson on CNN, clearly siding with a Media Matters, quote, journalist, not a journalist, who dug up old conversations that Carlson had with shock jock Bubba the Love Sponge. A very serious conversation, apparently. On last week's show, Stelter went so far as to question the mental health of Fox News, saying he really wanted the network to be healthy. Yes, just like Jack Dorsey wants Twitter to be healthy. I heard something interesting. You're not allowed to be conservative on Twitter. You're not. Because certain beliefs held by conservatives aren't allowed on the platform, plain and simple. So, you're allowed to be on the platform if you're conservative, just not to express your conservative values. For the record, if Tucker Carlson is watching, I don't want Fox shut down, he said, making himself out to be a big person, even though he seriously insulted another network. I just want Fox News to be a healthy part of the media ecosystem. And the spread of misinformation that happens on these programs is unhealthy. It's as simple as that. Unfortunately for you, Brian, I'm sorry. NewsGuard rates Fox News as a healthy part of your news diet. They do. A lot of people criticize NewsGuard, saying they're neocons or whatever. Whatever. Look, NewsGuard says Fox News is good for you. Yes, that outrages people like Brian Stelter. I'm sorry, your heavily biased, weird CNN, Russia collusion, fake news, conspiracy theory nonsense is leading me to think I'm not going to take your word for it. Instead of being an unbiased media reporter, Stelter has taken it upon himself to question President Trump's mental health and now the mental stability of Fox News. Yeah, he's a pundit. I get it. It's fine. You know, just don't act like you're unbiased or healthy. CNN has pumped out a ton of crazy reporting. Stelter is defending media matters. Come on, that's clearly partisan. Carlson isn't typically bubbly or warm towards Stelter. In fact, the Doughnuts are probably the most kind gesture Carlson has shown Stelter in all the time they've known each other. Carlson has repeatedly called Stelter a palace eunuch on his prime time. Okay, for those that don't know what a eunuch is, it's somebody got their balls chopped off. There, demonetized. You happy? In January, Carlson told his viewers that Stelter was reading CNN President Jeff Zucker's talking points about Russia. Zucker has declared that anyone who is not spreading fear of Russia is doing the bidding of Russia. Uh-oh! What now? After the Mueller report. So the eunuch heads to the steps of the palace and reads the proclamation, Carlson said. Message received, thank you very much. Okay, so I think it's important to point out he didn't say, well, it doesn't sound like he said, it's according to this, that he directly called Stelter a eunuch, but he was making a comment about the eunuch going to the palace, so he did. Well, here's what happened. Brian Stelter defended Media Matters and said, don't be hateful. Is that so much to ask? Sure, but it was 10 years ago, dude. Come on, we know you're playing this silly game. One would think a chief media correspondent would at least pretend to be an advocate for the principles of free speech and diversity in media, but this is certainly not the case with Brian Stelter. That's according to Daily Wire, which, come on, that's clearly, getting your opinions in there. That's fine, I get it. Over the weekend, left-wing Media Matters put audio clips of Fox News, Tucker Carlson, so we know all this. But what did, here we go. Don't be so hateful, is it so much to ask? I don't know. Maybe it is, Stelter said of Carlson, suggesting the host is deserving of the concerted effort to shut him up. Media Matters isn't actually calling for his firing. They may want it to happen eventually, but what they're doing is they're saying we just want the advertisers to know about it, and the advertisers get to decide whether to support the show or not, Stelter said on CNN's New Day, attempting to appear objective. That is an interesting strategy. We can love that. We can hate that. That is an interesting strategy. Let me tell you what CNN is all about. Oliver Darcy reported on InfoWars repeatedly, and InfoWars eventually got banned. Why? Because Alex Jones insulted a CNN reporter, Oliver Darcy. Isn't that weird? Here's the thing. In my opinion, yes, you can report on something and not be an advocate for something. I reported on It's Going Down, a far-left site, on Patreon. I was looking for a comment. I did not want to get them banned. And now, from then on, I do not name people when I'm asking for comments because I don't want them to take action simply because I brought something up. CNN knows this too, and they keep doing it. For one, Alex Jones. Two, Maffick Media. Maffick Media is a left-wing anti-war outlet which receives some, I believe 51% is owned by Ruptly, which is funded by Russia Today. Because of this, CNN ran a report and Facebook suspended their account for all of their accounts for, I don't know exactly how long, claiming that they needed to disclose they were Russian funded, even though that's not a rule. CNN knows exactly what they're doing. Oliver Darcy said straight up on CNN, it was media pressure that got Alex Jones banned. Now, I don't know if this is true, but it's my understanding that CNN's actually the ones who reported Alex Jones on Twitter over the Oliver Darcy thing. You now have Oliver Darcy talking about Twitter is promoting conservatives. Okay. Yeah, he's actually being like, look what they're doing. So what? They're promoting conservative personalities, left-wing personalities too. Why is that an issue? You don't like someone else's opinion. That's why. Now CNN's reporting on Instagram and spread of misinformation. CNN knows full well what they're doing when they go, oh no, we don't want Tucker Carlson to be fired. We're just reporting on this because you know what's going to happen if Fox News goes away. CNN is going to try and scoop up a lot of that audience. I'm sure a lot of the Fox News viewers don't want to watch CNN, but I'm sure there's some. Take out the competition, you know, how the game is played. For CNN to act like we're just reporting on it, maybe the advertisers should know about what this is. Okay, CNN, would you like everyone else to pull up 10-year-old comments from all of your staff members and share them with your advertisers and lead an outrage campaign against you? Look, do I think what Tucker Carlson said was bad? Of course. Of course, it was a shock jock show. He said a bunch of really awful things. 10 years ago, let's move on. You know, I get it. He was an adult. He said dumb things. You have to recognize that culture changes. But I certainly am not going to trust CNN when they claim, we're just reporting on these things. Media Matters admits that it wants Tucker Carlson tapes to impact Fox's ad sales event this week. And this spring's upfront ad sales, we certainly want to make sure the tapes are released. It's a political attack, right? And then what happened is Tucker Carlson called a eunuch and a ubiquitous windbag. He called Anna Navarro a ubiquitous windbag. That's kind of a weird thing to call her. I mean, I understand the windbag, but ubiquitous, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I don't want to ramble too much. Let's just leave on this note. Is it a jelly donut? Brian, you got some free jelly donuts. I'm pretty sure you can afford them, but there we are. We're done. Let's see what happens next. I don't know. It's a funny story. Stick around. I got more videos coming up in a few minutes.